Just a brief update for the water pump saga on the car. As you can see here, I've got 3 shiny new bolts in here. Now, if you remember from the time before, I said that I had an issue with this bolt back here. It was really tight, and I managed to get it off, and you know, with persuasion with my let's get this down a bit further, with my mole grips. Now, what I did find was that that hole, I did take a photo of it. I mean, the nut itself was quite chewed up here, as you can see. It was. What I decided to do was actually tap out the 3 holes here with to go to M8 by 1.25s. Now, with the stainless bolts, but this recess hole in here was about 5mm short, and I've got a photograph of that. I'll put it in towards the end of this short video. And it was, and it hadn't actually tapped very well, and it wasn't deep enough. And I think originally when this was put in or re-put in, because that hole wasn't deep enough, it was over tightened and ruined the thread inside the inside. So when I actually tapped it out to 8 by 1.25mm, it wasn't quite enough oomph on it to actually tighten down. When I started sequentially tightening this thing up, this one, it actually gave away quite easily. So what I actually had to do was to drill this one out and put a helicoil in there. But I've only got one shot to get it right first time. So what I had to do was I drilled it out by about 5mm. I can't see why, for the life of me, why that would need to be any shorter on that engine block. So originally it couldn't have been drilled out to the correct depth. I don't see why it would have to be 5mm higher, because it's not as if it's going to penetrate through the main block. So there's enough on that perimeter there to take it. So I just went for it. I decided to drill it down deeper by probably 4, maybe 5mm, and then put a helicoil in there, and tapped it out to M10, and then put a helicoil in there, and yeah, now she's bolted down nicely. Really, I did not expect that, and I sort of bit the bullet this evening and decided to do all that. Now she's bolting up quite nicely, so I've got it down at the moment. I'll check the torque settings to make sure it's fine. Again, there was a slight bite on it, but originally I couldn't afford to leave it and put everything back together again for it to find. It would, once this block had heated up, and you know, and to get this back on, what I did do was, because you get supplied with various gaskets, when you put it on originally, you see if it's going to hit the nut underneath. Underneath here is a raised part. So what I did is I put a fine layer of grease onto the impeller nut, plonked this down, and there were witness marks under the inside of here to say that the grease was touching. So what I did is I put the next gasket on and added a gasket, and until I got the correct clearance. So then I was quite happy to tighten it down, because I knew there was no it wasn't going to actually snag on this once it was all back together again. You've got a choice of 3 gaskets in total, and it does give you the specifications of about 0.2 to 0.3 of a millimeter in the workshop manual, unless I'm very much mistaken, about what the clearance should be. But that's for the 12 vein, not the 6 vein. This is a 12 vein impeller. So yeah, I didn't expect that, and a bit scary to start with. Like I said, when you start drilling and you're tapping and you're putting a helicoil in, you can only get it right once, and you got to get it right first time. So it's all worked out. I took the time, and yeah, so I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to check the torque settings, and I shall leave it there. I'll put up the photographs towards the end of this to to show you what the difference was. I did take a photograph with the bolts in situ and how they were bottoming out, and you can see the height difference quite clearly on the photograph, so I'll put that in. And again, I've taken the slide hammer back to A&M Restorations, and they're good chaps they are, and yeah, I was pleasantly delighted, and they were happy that I managed to get it all out and replaced. So next job then is to get all the inlet manifold back on and tidy all this up, clean it all up. I've got the new gasket, as I said, for the inlet manifold, and obviously the fuel pump to go back in, and yeah, the bits and pieces. So I'll probably just do another video once it's all up and I'm ready to switch back on. So with that, I shall leave it there. So thanks very much and goodbye.